Well, welcome back to our studios here in Lagos. We are still covering the U.S. elections live on Channels Television. And in the studio with us, of course, I have my colleague, Charles Aruka. We also have Mr. Shubo here, and we have Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, one issue that has bothered the whole world this year has been the issue of the migrant crisis. We've seen horrible pictures, of immigrants dying in the Mediterranean. And the Western countries, though sympathetic, are unwilling to take them in because they really cannot deal with that huge amount of people coming into their country. Now, what else, can the U.S. government do about this issue? I'm talking about the incoming government now. What else can they bring to the table that the Obama administration did not?
I think the Obama administration did not have the cooperation of the GOP to bring many of those immigrants. And the activities of ISIS, the lone wolf attacks, many of them were traceable to the migrant movement. So basically, the West became afraid. You recall that the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, accepted loads of them. At the end of the day, what happened? They attacked. As we speak today, about 5 recruiters have been arrested in Germany. They recruit people in Germany and sent to Syria to fight. So this has become a stereotype that where you allow migrants, especially of the Asian stock, this massive movement, that the ultimate implication is that there will be a terrorist attack.
So doesn't that justify Donald Trump's perspective on this matter?
The true position is this. Donald Trump was guilty of delivery, not being a politician. He did not deliver his message well. Duterte of Philippines had a message that he would deal with drug dealers. He didn't say he will shoot mayors and kill them. He didn't say he will kill 3,000 within 2-3 months. But he ended up killing not less than 3,000 and shooting 2 mayors, including one already in prison. So, but if it were Trump would have made it known even before getting to power. So the difference between Trump is being a businessman and suffering from diarrhea of the mouth. He said everything before he was to get to power. Politicians, we have the same policy, we have the same reasoning, the same vision. They will keep quiet, dress it in borrowed robes, give it to the public to buy, vote for them. When they get in, then they begin to unravel these things. So that's the way I see it.
I actually think the U.S.'s immigration issue is way overblown. I practiced immigration law, in the United States for a while before I went into other. It was Ronald Reagan, a GOP president, who first came up with the idea of amnesty, and granted amnesty millions of illegal immigrants. And now, the United States sees itself, now this is what they call American exceptionalism. It sees itself as a country of immigrant, a refuge. I mean, if you go to New York, you see that Statue of Liberty, what is written in there. So it sees as having that responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean the borders are open for anyone to just come in. All those things that Donald Trump was saying was actually just been really ignorant. And that's been shown. No borders was thrown open. Of course, you share border with Mexico, a less wealthy country, less prosperous country. People will try to come in, Some will come in illegally. I mean, people will overstay their visas. I mean, solely from over there, they can cross the border. Yes, they do that. Some of them got killed in the process. But from this part of the world, we don't do that. We just overstay our visas and find ways to now adjust. There are only 3 ways you can get to become legal in the United States? Is that through your family? Is that through work? Or through political asylum? Political asylum is foreclosed to many of us. So you get there, you do fake marriage and stuff like that. But we don't have millions, like he said. Now, what Obama tried to do was the same thing that Ronald Reagan did. Let us find a way for these folks to become legal. Why? Because some of them have children who are American citizens. Some children were brought into the United States when they were really small and young. And they grow up knowing nowhere else except the United States. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to deport their parents and leave the children alone, separating families? And that is what the Democrats say. No, we don't want to do that. So let us find, and also, when you find a way for these folks to become legal, they pay taxes. I mean, one of the requirements is that they must have paid taxes. They must learn English. They must do all these things. So you are bringing more people, more workforce. You're increasing the workforce, but you are making them, now they hide and they take employment, and you're not getting enough taxes from them. They're being abused and they could not report it. Some of them are sexually abused, some of them are physically abused. So I see that approach of Hillary Clinton as the better, which Obama started. But like you rightly said, the GOP, they just hate Obama. I mean, everything. Look at Obamacare. Look at what it took to get there. This guy is not going to be successful, especially when it comes to. So they block that. He was actually thinking about an executive order, and he moved away from it a little bit. But this is the part that now, if you talk about terrorism, those who committed terror in the United States mostly are actually U.S. citizens. They're not immigrants. They're not from. But some of them are born there. I mean, they become radicalized. A guy who went into the military and shot people who was even a doctor in the military. So you have to look at that. You cannot, like they are doing in Europe, and you have to think about Europe differently because they share borders with the East. People just walk across Turkey and boom, they are somewhere and they're in Europe and they're moving around and so on. But the United States, for you to get from there to the U.S., you have to fly. And the borders are really, really, I mean, they just, I know most of us have been through that. But you cannot see the picture of that little child in Aleppo. See, I have that picture. I actually shed tears when I was looking at it. And for a country now to turn its back and say, no, we're not going to do anything because we're afraid of terrorists, I think that's inhuman.
Well, the observation I wanted to make, when you raised that point of radicalization was that, let's not forget too, that those who get radicalized are those who trace their roots, to the Middle Eastern countries and to, countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, those who practice that same faith. Yeah. Those are the ones who get radicalized. So how would you situate that, even in the context of them being born and brought up in the United States of America?
Just like, let's say you start smoking dope, for instance. Okay, you must have gone through some process. Maybe you see people doing the same thing. See, radicalization and connecting to where they come from as U.S. citizens can actually be looked as being discriminatory.
Well,
okay, so you cannot base a policy on that and say U.S. citizens, simply because they are radicalized and then they commit some act and they are caught for it and they go to jail for it. Those are committing any crime. You can't base a foreign policy and say, well, because they are from over there or their parents are from over there. And now you have to look at the percentage now. There's so many immigrants in the United States from that part of the world, and they are good citizens, like that father who was on TV, whose son died in the war. Some of them are in the military. Some of them are shedding their blood for that country, okay, for the freedom that they enjoy, which they cherish. So you cannot just say, well, because you have 2, 3, 4, 5, even 100.
But
people are radicalized, and then
does it mean there is no does it mean there is no merit in addressing the ISIS equation? Terrorism was not in operation when Ronald Reagan granted amnesty, and differentiate economic migrants from pure religious or criminal gangs that want to set the world on fire. how do you identify them?
And that is what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying.
Allowing a massive number of people from, and remember that ISIS allowed some of their trained members to flow along with these migrants into some of these countries. And some of them did not even wait for months before they struck. Now, United States already suffering from attacks from lone wolves. To allow mass entry at this stage.
But that's not what's happening. There's no mass entry.
I want you to look at it.
There's no mass entry.
No, there is a campaign that they should take a large